Hey YouTube fans, welcome to the next off-season installment of Section 420, Talkin Yankees. And the wintertime calls for a hoodie, front pockets to keep your hands warm, and a warm fabric blend to keep you protected in cold and inclement weather, and drawstring hood. And the good thing about a hoodie is, like, when you want to fall asleep, this is usually dirty, but then you put up the hoodie and you lay back and the back of your head actually stays clean and you can take a nap. A lot of big things happening. New Yankee manager. It's going to be Aaron Boone, who seemed like he had the inside track the whole way. Don't really have any big feelings on it, more or less. I guess he's an okay candidate. His father was a baseball player. His brother's a baseball player. He was a baseball player. I didn't hear him too much on ESPN, so I can't really judge him from that. And again, it seems like he's going to be totally controlled either way. And really, the way baseball is, the only time you really need the managers with making the bullpen decisions late in the game, which I think Girardi was great for. I think Girardi should really still be the manager, but he's not. So we'll see how Boone goes. Now, later in the process, it did seem like Carlos Beltran's name got thrown in there. I think he would have been great, and I was actually rooting for Beltran, but it went with Boone. We'll see. I think he'll be fine, but a new MVP type slugger. Giancarlo Stanton. Out of nowhere, the Yankees pulled this deal off with the Miami Marlins. Trade only Starlin Castro, who very good for the Yankees, but if you're going to trade him to get Giancarlo Stanton back and you don't have to give any of the young chips, that's a great deal. So now the Yankees are going to have Judge and Stanton, 50 home run guys in the same lineup. It's incredible. And then I'm going to give you my top 10 Yankee Stadium moments. It was a total cash dump by Miami. I mean, they're always strapped for cash, but you had this new ownership group, which included Derek Jeter. So people are going to say conspiracy, but they're just looking to dump salary. And the Miami Marlins, they've been dumping their sportscasters, they've been dumping trainers, they've been looking to cut money at every end. So Cashman made that phone call, and he even got the Miami to pick up a little piece of his contract. I mean, we still got to pay the guy a boatload, but still, it's a no-brainer of a deal. And supposedly Mets owner Fred Wilpon was furious that the Yankees were able to get Stanton, someone in his own division and someone in his own town. So it makes the whole thing even more better. Now, there's going to be a lot of parallels to the A-Rod contract on this one. I mean, you're going to get a couple of, maybe more than a couple, he's 27 years. So you get a bunch of good years, but then towards the end there, it's going to be like, oh, you're stuck with this veteran guy who can't play the field anymore. He's striking out a lot and making a lot of money. But for now, enjoy the good times. Now, I thought this was going to be a quiet offseason, mainly because they had a roster that was just a game away from the World Series. But going into the winter meetings, Cashman has been very busy. Bon voyage, Chase Utley. The only 1 year left on his contract, made him very tradable. Cashman actually sent him back to San Diego for a prospect, and now it opens third base. So you might see Gelbar Torres there, you might see Miguel Andujar, who came up during midseason and was kind of impressive, or they just might want to keep it open for the day they might be able to sign Machado next offseason. So the big ticket item for this offseason was going to be Shohei Ohtani from Japan, and he's known as the Japanese Babe Ruth. He could throw 100 miles per hour, but he could also belt 30 home runs, and with the free agent rules, you would only have to pay him $3 million, so he would have been a bargain. The Yankees wanted him, the Mets wanted him, but obviously he didn't choose New York. He wanted a bit of a quieter lifestyle, so he went to Anaheim. But really, it's no big loss, because with Stanton, forget it, they could keep their old-time guy, whatever his name is. And they bring CC Sabathia back on a 1 year, $10 million deal. A little pricey for 1 year, it's not too bad. Last year for the Yankees, it went 14-5 and an ERA 3.69. Relative bargain. I know in the playoffs he fizzled out a little bit, couldn't go really 5-6 innings, but again, they brought him back. I think they should have brought him back. It was the right move. It's great to have CC back, but to help bolster that starting rotation, the Yankees are looking to the Pirates, Garrett Cole. Possibly there's rumors now that they're training to try to get him. Now originally the Pirates want Gelbar Torres, and Cashman was like, no way. But it seems now that the outfield is going to be crowded, especially now that we have Stanton, you have Gardner, you have Judge, you still have Ellsbury and Hicks. Someone like Clint Frazier, who the Yankees are high on, becomes more expendable. So it's possible the Yankees might package Frazier over there to get Cole. It's possible. It's not a terrible deal. I would like to keep Frazier and Cole. He was good like 3 years ago. His past 2 years, he's kind of been good, but kind of iffy. Not really that Cy Young type guy he was in 2015. So, but I just think the Yankees need more length out of the rotation. So if you could do it and only give up Frazier, and again, Cole's under control till 2020, it's a good deal. I think they'll make it, and they probably will make it, and they should make it. So now that we got the news out of the way, I'm going to give you my top 10 most important Yankee Stadium experiences. So I'm going to roll the top 10 that took place at the new stadium, as well as where the old stadium used to be. So I have to go way back in the vault for this one. Actually, 1994, one of my earliest memories going to Yankee games. Now, this was August 13th. It was they were giving away these lithograph posters for Phil. It was like Phil Rizzuto's introduction into the Hall of Fame. So it was a hot August night. I remember that, and this was like the turning point for the Yankees because by '93, they picked up Wade Boggs. They had Paul O'Neill. They made the trade for him. They had Bernie Williams. They had Don Mattingly. So the Yanks were kind of turning from those terrible years from the late 80s and early 90s. So 1994, the team's looking promising. Eventually, they would go on strike, and you have the strike in baseball. But still, the Yankee organization were turning things around. So hot August night, they're giving these things out. And I guess people were ingesting a lot of beer. And it was against the rival Baltimore Orioles. I think Jim Abbott started the game. So long story short, you have a lot of alcoholic fans in the stands, and you have these lithograph things like this big. Well, some genius decided to make it into a paper airplane and throw it. So first you got a couple, and then like a whole squadron of these like paper airplanes started all over the field. They had to stop the game like 3 times. I remember they had to get the grounds crew to come out to pick up all the paper airplanes, and you even got the legendary Bob Shepard, like, please do not throw things onto the field. And it was just, it really had nothing to do with baseball itself. It's just, I'd never seen like 20,000 paper airplanes at once. So it was kind of funny. So the first edition of the Subway Series at the new Yankee Stadium. So the first game was a Friday night, and it was a hot night. It was, I believe it was June 12, 2009. So it's a hot night. The ball was flying. The Mets were hitting home runs. The Yankees were hitting home runs. The Met announcers that, it's so easy for home run balls to go out of the stadium. So to set the stage, the Mets did take a lead in the game, unfortunately, off of Mariano Rivera. So you have K-Rod, the Mets closer, up. So he puts a few guys on, so you have Teixeira and some other dude on with A-Rod up. Now, A-Rod one swing, if he hits a home run, he could win the game. But this is the A-Rod back then when people didn't have much confidence in him. So K-Rod throws a pitch low, A-Rod hits the pitch, and it goes like a mile high in the infield. Like, here's a way to lose the game. So, well, there was a runner on, so he scores. Teixeira, to his credit, he hustled the whole way. He scores. And the ball's now coming down. Now, Mets second baseman was Luis Castillo, and I was sitting up at that, towards first base, and I get to see looking down. He was just circling around like he didn't have a good track of the ball. I was like, thinking like, you know what, this guy's not going to get it. Now he's going from the second base towards out the kind of right field lip, and he's still like struggling to find the ball. Whoop, he drops, the ball drops. A-Rod's now safe at second. Both runners scored. The Mets blew the game big time. Even though it was only a regular season thing, but against the Mets, to get it that way, it was sweet. So the Yankees didn't make the postseason in 2014, but the only thing they had going for them, it was the final year for Derek Jeter, and he got, everywhere he went, everyone gave him presents and gifts, and everyone loved him, even on the road, even in Boston. But he did something monumental here at Yankee Stadium. He gave us one last thrill, even though it wasn't a postseason moment. So the Yankees were playing the Baltimore Orioles. The Yankees took the lead, and it was kind of a ho-hum. Derek Jeter didn't do anything crazy or anything big, but David Robinson, who was a very reliable closer for the Yankees, gives up a big 3-run home run, actually ties the game. It almost seems like he did it on purpose so Jeter could get one more at bat. I wouldn't say he did. It just, the Yankee Stadium ghost made that happen. So, okay, so now you have a tied game. Brett Gardner gets on first, and now Jeter comes up bat. Now, Buck Showalter had a tough decision to make. Do you walk Jeter and maybe set up a double play or force at third base? Now, to Buck Showalter's credit, he didn't do that. He let his pitcher pitch to Jeter. So now you have Brett Gardner. He's on second base. Jeter, first pitch, does his typical inside-out swing, single to right field. Gardner comes around to score, so Derek Jeter once again, game-winning hit. He's a hero. Again, it's only in a regular season game, but you couldn't script a better send-off. September 25th, 1996. Now, the Yankees were playing the Milwaukee Brewers in a doubleheader. I actually missed the part of the game because I actually came after school. I got picked up, so we went to go see the game. And it was a game that if the Yankees won either one of those two, they would have clinched the AL East for the first time in 14 years. So it was a big moment, and the Yankees took a big lead. I missed it. By the time we got to the game in the 6th inning, the Yankees were ahead like 14-something. So you knew they were going to win it. It was just known. It was just a matter of how many outs that you can get. So finally, they do get that final out, and the place goes crazy because, again, AL East champs for the first time in like 14 years. So People are throwing beers. There was stuff coming down from the stands. It was this complete pandemonium. But it's just funny because then you had a tempered enthusiasm. They had to get the field cleaned up, ready for Game 2, which they also won. And in fact, I think Jorge Posada got his first hit as a major leaguer. And by that time, actually, we snuck down, so I got to see that one up close. Now, regular season game only, July 9th, 2011. But it's when Derek Jeter got his 3,000th hit, which no other Yankee did before, and off a tough lefty, David Price. But in the game, in total, Jeter goes 5 for 5, and again, on his 3,000th hit to get a home run. It's like, it's never been done before. The place erupts. I was up there in Section 420. It was a historic moment for the Yankees. So 2012 American League Division Series against the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the Yankees actually took Game 1 on the road, lost Game 2, so Game 3 came back here to the stadium. So now, the Yankees were losing. It was the bottom of the 9th, and Joe Girardi made a gutsy call. He actually pinch hit Raul Ibanez for A-Rod, and at the time I was like, what? Even though A-Rod was declining that time and Joe Torre did the same thing in 2006, it was still like a big shocker. So, long story short, Ibanez hits a game-tying home run, places like shock. So a pinch hit game-tying home run in the postseason. It doesn't get bigger than that. And then we go into extra innings. And again, that home run was off of Jim Johnson, who he had a great year as a closer for the Orioles, had like 50-plus saves, but the Yanks rocked him in Game 1, and now Raul's rocked him in Game 3. So Ibanez comes up again, his next at-bat, off a left-hander, no doubt, hits a game-winning home run. So now you have 2 postseason home runs, one a pinch hit, and then the other in the extra innings to win the game. Place was just erupting, shaking, going crazy like that. Now the Yankees would lose Game 4, but CC would pitch a complete game in Game 5, and the Yankees would move on to the next round, but unfortunately lost to the Detroit Tigers. The 1999 World Series Game 4. Actually, ended up getting a ticket here, which I can't really give the details. Well, I can't give the details. Anyway, I was inside the building for the Game 4, and the Yankees were up 3-0 against the Braves, so it was like there was no pressure. You knew they were going to win. It was just a matter of time, and it was just good, to get the game, to get to see it in person, then win it. So, again, the series wasn't that much dramatic. I think by the time the Yankees won Game 2, you knew it was over. And Game 4, it was a pitching duel between Roger Clemens and John Smoltz, but Smoltz really wasn't Smoltz. His arm was kind of, he was having some elbow issues, and I think after that year, he's when he transitioned to be a closer. So it wasn't the real tough Smoltz from the early and middle 90s, but still a good pitching matchup. The Yankees took a lead. Jim Leyritz missed a postseason home run for the Yankees, did hit a postseason home run. So the ball, I think the final out was Chad Curtis, I believe, in left field, caught the last out. Again, the place was crazy because it was the they won the World Series. It was the third one, the three. So it was a cool moment. Again, not the greatest moment, but again, to see a championship won in person, it's something great to experience. Game 2 of the 2009 run, magical run. It's the World Series against the Phillies. Now the Yankees lost Game 1. CC Sabathia pitched well. They gave up 2 solo shots. So now you got Game 2. The Yankees have to win this game because you do not want to go down to Philly 0-2 in the World Series. So it's a tight game against Pedro Martinez, an old nemesis. The Yankees do get ahead. They take the lead, but then the little gets shaky towards the end. They had to bring Mariano Rivera out. Now, he puts the first two guys on, so you're like, uh-oh, here comes the Phillies. Next guy comes up, Mariano strikes him out. Mariano gets him to bounce into a double play. Thank goodness they didn't have replay back then, otherwise they would reverse the call. But Mariano gets out of that jam, then comes back in the ninth, gets the next 3 out. The Yankees tie the series 1-1, and then go back down to Philly, take a few more games. But again, if they didn't get that Game 2 victory, it could have been a totally different story. In 2009, the American League Championship Series against the Anaheim Angels, a rainy, mucky, cold day. Now, in extra innings, I think it was the 11th innings, the Yankees blew the lead. They were losing by a run. So, bottom of the 11th, Alex Rodriguez come up. Again, been a long-time postseason villain for the Yankees, but he did carry the Yankees through the division series against the Twins. So now he comes up at this at-bat. Strike 1, strike 2 against Brian Fuentes, the Angels closer. And you figure, all right, you know what? 0-2, Yankees, he's going to strike out. No, so Fuentes throws another ball just a little outside the strike zone, outside. A-Rod hits it little opposite field, and it's kind of a nubber. It was going towards right field, and it was going, and you figure, all right, it's going to drop as a normal fly out. It just kept going, and just barely made it over the wall. Boom, the place explodes. A-Rod has just tied the game on an 0-2 pitch. The other manager, Mike Scioscia, must have been furious. How can you give an 0-2 pitch that good for a home run? So now the game's tied. The Yankees, I think, went to the 13th inning, and then Jerry Harrison or something like that hit like a game-winning single, came around the score. The place, it was rainy. A lot of fans left, actually, because it was just getting late in the night and it was cold. But again, the place was going nuts. The Yankees took a 2-0 lead in the series. In the series, they would ultimately go on to win. So Game 2 of the 2009 Division Series against the Minnesota Twins. Now, in Game 1, the Yankees wrecked the Twins. The Twins took a 2-0 lead, Jeter tied it up, and then from there the offense went off and went crazy. Game 2 got a little tight, you know. It was one of those games where it was like 2-2, 3-2. There was even a big moment where Derek Jeter made a smart tag at a guy at second before the guy crossed it home and saved the run. So, long story short, we get to the 9th inning. It's Joe Nathan comes on for the Twins, and the Yankees have beat him up his entire career. He's a good closer, but the Yankees always had his number. So Teixeira leads off with a double, and you could just tell, you know what, the Yankees are going to get this guy. So Teixeira's on second, A-Rod comes up, and again, A-Rod was always the postseason villain for the Yankees. You know, he was always get booed. But this particular postseason, 2009, A-Rod literally carried the team, so he made up for all his past mistakes. So he gets a pitch, boom, a long home run, goes right over the center field wall. I mean, the place explodes. To this day, it's the loudest, most raucous I ever seen at the new stadium. The place was shaking, like, oh my God. So we go into extra innings. David Robinson, who by this time was earning his Houdini nickname, he gets out of a major bases loaded jam with no outs. Still says a scoreless game. Next time the Yankees get at bat from that, Mark Teixeira hits a game-winning 2-run home run. The ball just goes over the wall, just makes it. Again, the place explodes. The Yankees take a 2-0 lead in the series. They'll go win Game 3 in Minnesota to move on. Tremendous game. So those are my top 10 experiences. Maybe there's some of yours as well, or maybe you have totally different experiences I didn't cover. Well, let me know. Type in the comments section. Well, we'll see you in the new year. Stay warm.